Yo, welcome people. Another edition. Today's a different edition of 245. Obviously, we've all heard the news about the passing of the Queen Elizabeth II of Great Britain. She died at the age of 96, and due to her passing, the Premier League has decided to postpone all the games. So yeah, she lived a long life, 96, and regardless of our thoughts and views, it's always sad when someone passes. So, condolences to the royal family. And yeah, we move on. So yeah, all the games are cancelled this week. And I actually believe that I think the games are cancelled because there might be some like there's a lot of fans in different jurisdictions, in different parts of the country that are not too enamored by the royal family. So there might be some remonstrations and some unpleasantries going on. So that could have been a potential reason why they cancelled it. But I didn't see the point of cancelling. I thought it would have been a good idea to host the games, have people show their appreciation or their love or whatever they wanted to do. It would have been. I thought that would have been better, but I don't know. What do you man think?
Yeah, I hear your point about the Premier League wanting to potentially stop any sort of demonstration, but to be honest, when the games are resumed, there's still going to have to be some sort of period of silence or some sort of
Acknowledgement.
acknowledgement, and that's still going to provide opportunity for certain people to express their views. In my opinion, I don't think they should. They should keep their views to themselves on this occasion. But yeah, that you may be correct in terms of why the Premier League decided to postpone the games. I don't think they should have postponed the games because other sports like cricket,
Yeah,
like
that
cricket,
dead sport, bruv.
cricket play. They continue to play. I know cricket's seen as like more of a gentleman sport, so it's more like associated with
Yeah, it's the
that.
audience. They're different.
Yeah,
Fam, when I watched the cricket the other day when we were singing "God Save the King" or whatever, bruv, I saw more passions with flies around poo than man showed, bruv. It was like God save. Well, there was no passion, bruv. I thought the man were gonna be belting it out. Nothing, bruv.
It's the audience. They're not, they're more reserved. They're more probably from a higher earning background. They're more reserved. Yeah.
Yeah, man. There was no passion, man. It was just like God save. I was like, fam, they should have cancelled that as well.
If you're sorry, are you finished, Denzel? Or you got more points to add?
yeah, finished.
If you also look at how people are these days in society, people feel they can do whatever and anything they want these days. If you remember back to the Euro 2020 final last year, the madnesses that were happening outside the stadium, just people were just bombarding it. It's just how people feel. People feel they can do what they want these days. So imagine that in this kind of type of scenario where someone like the Queen has died. So maybe it's the safest option. It's probably the worst option, but it's definitely the safest option. So I understand it from that perspective.
No, I hear you, man. Hear you. But there was still some football to discuss during the week. Champions League happened before the death of the Queen. That was Tuesday, Wednesday. We had four English clubs representing, and we had what? Who were they? Liverpool. We had Man
Spurs.
City. Who?
Tottenham
Spurs.
Hotspur.
Spurs, and we had was it Chelsea?
Yeah, Chelsea. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had those four English clubs representing in the Champions League. A mixed bag of results. So yeah, who should we kick off with? Let's kick off with Man City. Get that one out of the way, man. 4-0.
What's there to say though? what's new here?
Wow. Do you know what? Yeah, I was shocked because usually they have a slow start in the Champions League, and English teams are not really doing too well against Spanish teams away, but they've gone to Sevilla and just absolutely just put them in the bottom of a barrel, bro. Man, just dispatched them.
Haaland, another 2 goals, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's normal day in the office for him these days. So
That's what 12 and 7.
not even. I don't think even Messi, Ronaldo had starts to seasons like this. Not starts. They were doing this like midway during the season. I don't think a start to the season as mad as this.
No, not at all. But I think the way Man City play as well just completely suits him. He doesn't have to get involved in build-up play. He just at the end to finish the game, the player.
You can see why they wanted Ronaldo last year.
Oh man, he would have bagged.
He bagged what 18 in the league for Man United. Imagine for Man City, he would have probably
I would have
bagged
bagged.
36.
He would have bagged.
Yeah, man. Let me give Haaland his props. Another 2 goals. I don't think we in England have seen a start like this from a striker. It's been, even by his standards, it's been amazing. So yeah, Man City 4-0. A great way to state their intent in the Champions League. We all know they want to win it this year. Sevilla, they're a very good team in Europe, especially. So yeah, that was kind of a demonstration to beat them 4-0 like that away.
Showed them the intent in it.
Yeah, exactly. And then Jack Grealish played. I think he got like a good 60 minutes in. So I guess we'll see what's happening with Jack Grealish.
100 million.
Coming back from injury, so he played decent from what I saw. So yeah, we'll see. We're watching him.
Yeah, Man City did what they do, man.
I think eventually on the Grealish point, I think eventually he'll play in midfield. I don't think he's got the pace or dynamic traits or dynamism. Yeah, that's it. To play on the wing, especially for City. So
He slows the game too much because when he gets the ball, he's trying to touch and trying to look for a dribble.
Yeah.
City are very dynamic. He's very.
Yeah.
I need to be a center of attack.
Yeah, when you play for City on the wing, when you get it in the final third, you need to do something with it. You just can't be
going
and if
straight
you
for it.
have you pass it off or you take the man on, it's no dwelling on the ball.
No, for real.
Yeah, I would love to see him play the role that De Bruyne plays. I think that's where
Yeah.
he would team at his best, but I think Pep will eventually do it.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, so yeah, that's the City game. Moving on to Spurs versus Marseille. Man, like Richard Arlison got his first 2 Champions League goals.
You mean Spurs versus Arsenal?
Fam. I love fam. I said, like, yo, did they play? Yeah, man.
No, do you get why I'm saying that?
Yeah, man, because Arsenal going out all the players to Marseille, innit?
We've got like half the team that used to play for Arsenal in playing for Marseille.
Yeah. I'll get you Nuno Tavares, Guendouzi, couple man.
Even Sanchez.
That useless guy.
Yeah. I saw that it was a close game. I didn't watch the game, but I was hearing that it was a close game, and it took them to like the 70-something minute for them to break deadlock. So, but I heard that the first half wasn't really good. They couldn't really break down Marseille. They matched them up, Marseille, with the 5-3-2. So that's one to watch for Spurs, I guess. If they do struggle against deep low blocks and teams that can defend decent. So we'll see how it goes. They're good. Nonetheless, I'll give Spurs their props. They're a good team. They've got good forwards. Richarlison's a really good addition. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Again, I don't think Spurs have played a good game this season. They keep winning, which is good. But again, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing at this point because they haven't played a great game this season. We haven't seen the best of them, but they keep winning. So yeah, shout out to Richarlison. What a way to start in the Champions League to make your Champions League debut with the 2 goals. El Caps, you mentioned a lot last week about squad rotation and the importance of that. We've seen that with Richarlison and his 2 goals. That front line, they're going to be able to rotate this season. Kane, Son, Richarlison, Kulu. So Spurs, again, they could be a threat this season. They're going along slowly. Maybe the performances will start to come with the results as we progress in the season. We'll see.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see that they dropped Kulu and kept Sonny in.
Yeah.
For Richarlison, so they're coming along. Son hasn't started playing well at all, but they're still winning. And in the past, he's been a vital player for them. He hasn't scored a goal this season, so when he gets going, I think there'll be a team to watch. But I think the first game of the season when they won 4-1, they played well. But apart from that, they've just been coasting. Not coasting, but they've just been playing that Conte dead football.
They take their chances. They got shooters up top. Yeah, they take their chances. Every half chance is a chance for them because they've got quality up front.
And it's a mark of a clinical team because Spurs are not known to be clinical in the past. So, sometimes ugly football will win you that trophy that's been evading them for years. So that's what it takes for them to win.
I got a question for you two. Ever since Spurs got to the semi-final of Champions League, yeah, would that be far-fetched to say? How realistic is that? I don't know. Especially the style of play and their success against the biggest teams like Man City and Liverpool last year.
I think they could. I think like Conte's style is perfect for like competition football.
Yeah, they're difficult to beat. I think that will all depend on how they do in the league. If they're, by the time we get to that point, they're not really competitive in the league, which I doubt, then yeah, they can go far in the Champions League. But if they're challenging for top 4 or possibly challenging for the title, then I don't think they'll be able to reach the Champions League semi-finals as well. But we'll see. They're one to watch because, yeah, they are built to play well against big teams.
I think they'll do well because their team, their squad is looking more stronger, especially the attacking players. They've got a decent squad.
It's just that midfield.
That midfield, but the attacking players are strong. So teams are not going to be too crazy to attack them because what's coming back is pure artillery. And then they got that new stadium that they built. They're looking like a club that are serious about winning something. So I'm not going to be surprised they win something this season, to be honest. I'm going to say, they're going to win the Carabao Cup this season.
We'll see.
Spurs are going to win it.
We'll see. I hold you to that.
Spurs are winning the Carabao Cup. That's the deadest trophy that they can win, and they'll win it. Spurs will win it. If they don't, I don't care, bro. Next game, I left these 2 games last on purpose. So the first game, when they get into, was Chelsea versus Zagreb.
The funeral for some.
Yo. That was an early burial for one guy.
Another flat performance from Chelsea. They didn't really show much. Got beaten.
You think so?
They played well second half.
Yeah, they're peppering them. It just didn't happen for them. It happens, isn't it? It wasn't like it was a crazy bad loss. Yeah, it wasn't like a crazy bad loss where they got peppered. They just beat lost 3-0. Zagreb nicked a goal and they dominated the rest of the match. But it was, I hate what you say, it was flat. It's not what you expect from Chelsea. But I feel like these results can happen.
They can.
It is what it is.
They can, yeah. Tuchel got left.
I respect it.
They didn't let you go on the flight.
I respect it.
Like, yo, brother, stay out there, bro. Think about your life. They come back, bro.
What's that festival in Croatia?
What is that? Hideout.
Hideout.
Yeah,
bro, they told him the only thing you're catching is vibes at Hideout. You ain't catching no flight.
Wow. Yeah, well, they left them there, man. But there's things going around saying that the reason why they sacked him is because of this whole Ronaldo situation where the owners wanted Ronaldo, but Tuchel was saying Ronaldo's he's a washed guy. He's not going to fit the system. And they wanted Ronaldo for the revenue that he generates. So already there was beef.
And they asked him multiple times. The deal was agreed with Ronaldo's representative. So, like, it was waiting for Tuchel sign-off.
And he kept saying no.
But then you're going to go get Aubameyang.
But the thing is, when the new owners come in, they got rid of all the staff from the previous regime. And then they had Tuchel acting as the director of football, negotiator. Tuchel even come out during the summer saying, listen, I need time to train these, man. I'm out here doing jobs that I'm not even supposed to be doing. So he's out here talking to players about joining and trying to train and trying to manage the team. So he's taking on like 3 roles at once. And I think he wasn't too happy.
Do you feel sorry for him? Do you feel the sacking was justified?
I don't think it's justified at all because those results that he's had in the league, they're not what they're fifth, sixth. It's not like they're bottom of the table. It's 5 games in, 6 games into the league. You've given them 300 million to spend on players, and then you sack him a week after. That doesn't make sense. If you're going to give someone 300 million, allow that person to actually try and do something with that. If by say December nothing happening, sack him. Then you can say, I've given you enough time. The new window's coming up. I'm going to sack you, bring in another manager who can utilize this new window to bring in whoever they want to bring. But sacking him after 6 games, after backing him with 300 million, that didn't make sense.
It's Chelsea, though. Remember that. Not much things they do make sense.
But even Roman wouldn't sack someone like that. Roman would at least wait till December or something. As Roman sacked anyone after 6 games.
I hear what you're saying.
But I think there was rumors of hostility.
Yeah.
Future,
exactly.
like he wasn't really playing ball with the new owners, is it? So the owners was giving him with his money, but I don't think he was relating to them like they wanted to. So I think that was a big part of it as well.
It was always going to happen because new owners want to bring in their own people. And Tuchel was part of the old establishment, so it was always going to happen. He was on a short leash. And then he gave him the excuse to let him go. So yeah, man, Tuchel, he got sacked, bruv. By that 16 million payout.
Bruh. I felt the second was justified because majority, like a big portion of last season, for the money they spent, they wasn't really firing. Everybody predicted title challenge last season. That title challenge was done by January, February, so that's just halfway. On top of that, even if you can title challenge can be over, you can lose games, but it's the way you lose games. If your attack is firing, and you're meant to be classed as an offensive coach and we spent all this money in attack for you, you need to show more than what you showed. And then for you to, I don't know how the Lukaku got bought, but for you just to not use Lukaku, and he cost 100 million, at some point as a manager you need to use him. And then you send him away, and then your attack is still not really firing that much. So it's not just a 6 games for me. It's for the back end of last season and started this season. But they've also had a really, really good, promising coach. So I feel, and the top of that, the coach plays the same formation, and the coach knows how to work with different types of players at different levels. I knows how to sign the right players too. So I feel Graham Potter, the new manager, is going to
talk about that.
Oh,
we'll talk about
it. Okay. I'll leave that one.
We'll talk about it. Don't worry, bro. So that was a Chelsea game. 1-0 loss. Manager got sacked. Yeah, not looking good, man. Not looking good. The last game of the Champions League was, man, these Liverpool guys, man. Liverpool versus Napoli. Oof. Liverpool got that taste. 4-1. Home cooking. Yo, they got a taste. Liverpool got a taste. And the defending for some of the goals was absolutely dreadful.
It was on vibes, though. It was vibes.
It was dreadful.
Trent thought he was like a winger. I don't know what he was doing. He was chilling. Everybody stopped running. It was bad. It was really bad. It's like I don't know. They probably expect to just show up and do well, and then once it goes bad, they haven't got the mentality to then fix up. And I thought we can just carry on attacking. We're Liverpool.
Bro, there's like a couple of clips here where I think it was like the second goal when they got passed through. Man like Trent's just standing there watching. Man, what's this guy doing, bro?
Even Joe Gomez.
He's got a mental lapse, man. That can't be fixed.
No.
That loss of concentration, it can never be fixed. I'm telling you right now.
It can't.
What about Van Damme?
Who?
Fam. Virgil Van Damme, bruv.
What?
What about that Dolly, bruv?
Boy. Let me give props to Napoli. Let me give props to Napoli first.
The football was good.
The football was great, and they had the game plan to take Liverpool apart. So from the first minute, they were breaking Liverpool's lines, and they were creating chances. Yeah, Oshiman was a nightmare, Nigerian nightmare. Whereas
The
Kamara
mask.
Usman, he was the Nigerian nightmare. He was causing the defense problems before he
That
came.
Andre Frank Anguissa from Fulham.
Yeah.
We saw they got that
Oh,
young winger as well.
Hmm. I can't say
Causing
his
problems.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but
good player though.
good player. Yeah, good player.
he was a good player. He's a
Causing
good player.
causing problems all game. Yeah, they had the right game plan to take apart Liverpool. They knew Liverpool's weaknesses and they exploited them. So shout out to the coach for putting that game plan in place. Yeah, we'll get into the demise of Liverpool, but I thought they were very naive. They're still making the same mistakes. It's like they're not realizing what's wrong with them and they're continuing to play in the same way, which I think is the issue. We're going to get into that. But even 3-0 down, they still were playing gung ho. They were still high back line, high pressing. There needs to be a point where you need to realize, lads, we're 3-0 down. Let's be compact. Let's not bomb forward all the time. Let's not just focus and concentrate on not conceding. And that doesn't seem to be in their makeup, which is naive in my opinion. But yeah, 4-1. Yeah, we'll see what happens to them. And we're going to get more into Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They just. Do you think they're missing money?
That wasn't money. That's not an attack issue. That defensive display. It's more of a mentality issue from the manager and the philosophy of just
But
we're
then
Liverpool. We can carry on attacking even if we're 3-0 down.
when Mane's on the pitch here, I feel like teams pay them a bit more respect, and he drops back to defend as well. Whereas you don't get that in industry from Luis Diaz.
Now, Diaz is a hard worker.
No, but that not defensively. He doesn't defend like Mane.
I'm not putting that on the 3-0. I mean the 4-1 defeat. It's bigger than that. Like Money can't do nothing about Trent washing the ball.
What about Salah? Because I was hearing people comparing him to Lionel GOAT Messi. Did I spell GOAT right? GOAT. Yeah, I did it. They're comparing Salah. Wow, Mohamed Salah. They're comparing him to Lionel Bad Boy Messi, bro.
They
What
were
happened to them?
also saying he was best in the world. Remember the start of the season last year, best in the world, best in the world. That was short lived. That was what 3 months of the best in the world.
Best in the world. My mum was crying saying that he was robbed from the Ballon d'Or. It's like if someone didn't hit him with a Ballon d'Or. Have you seen the way he's playing?
It's not a short. It's not a short period of time. This is kind of long now.
Stats, man.
We're going to get into. I think obviously he's not playing to his top level, but I think there's more to him.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it, man. So that was our Champions League roundup. 2 wins and 2 defeats for the English clubs. So hopefully next week they can do a bit better. Onto the Europa League. We'll start off with SB's boys. Arsenal.
Yeah.
After they got a taste at Old Trafford. They went to Manchester and got a taste and then decided that they needed to take it out on someone else. And Arsenal got a 2-1 victory away from home to
Zurich.
Who the hell was that? Zurich.
We shouldn't even spend that much time on it because it's
only real quick.
It's Europa League and we should be expected to win these games. Pretty much, I think there were 7 changes from the United game, so there was a much changed sides. There was debuts from starting debuts from Vieira and Marquinhos on new signings from summer. So I'll touch on them too. Touch on the game quickly first. Zurich were defending quite well. We were struggling to break them down. Eventually, we got noses in front from a breakaway from a corner. Eddie down the line outpaced the defender, crossed the ball to Marquinhos, and he scored the goal. We ended up giving away a penalty just before halftime. Eddie gave away a penalty, and they scored that penalty. So it was 1-1 going into halftime. I wasn't even worried because we dominated the game. Yet we were creating openings. We just didn't have the cutting edge. you will think we'll have cutting edge, especially with Martinelli and Ketia playing. So, but that's a common theme I feel that we need to watch out for as Arsenal fans. We're not really have that. We create openings, we just can't put our chances away. We're not deadly in front of goal. So second half started. Again, same old, popping it again, creating openings, getting more comfortable. They tried to make it difficult for us, but then we got the second goal from our Marquinhos cross to Nketiah. So yeah, I mean, we did what we expected to do. The result wasn't really the main thing. I was really happy to see the performances of Fabio Vieira. He's like Odegaard, but more direct. So that's what I like. But I feel like he could do a bit more than Odegaard. I feel like Odegaard can do one or two, three. He could do the top three things he could do really, really well. Odegaard, like to an elite level. But if you ask him to take shots, be direct, run past people, he can't do that. Whereas I feel like Vieira can do a bit more of that. He's a bit more all-rounded. He can play a few more positions. I was really impressed with his performance. Marquinhos, we bought this guy for €3 million from, I think, Sao Paulo. It was literally just, when we bought him, every Arsenal fan thought, is this the winger we're going for? Because we never needed a winger. But the reports were that buying Marquinhos wouldn't impact any of our transfer dealings, and that was the case. So we just basically, it's almost like another Martinelli. It's a punt. We just say, bought him, see what happens. We let Pepe go, and we didn't buy a winger. We tried to get wingers in. Marquinhos started, so it was good to see him. He really, really impressed for someone who's 19. But he's strong, he's quick, he's tidy on the ball. You give it to him, he makes the decision quickly. Unlike Pepe dwells on the ball, doesn't keep the ball moving. Pepe doesn't play to the rhythm of the team, and Marquinhos does, which is really, really impressive for a 19-year-old. Yeah, I feel like there's more to come from him. He had a cross to Martinelli, which Martinelli should have scored in the first half. He scored the goal. It was top bins with his weaker foot, and he crossed the ball in for Nketiah's goal. I mean, what more can you ask? I feel like there's more to come from him. He's tidy. He's serviceable. Is he good enough to start games in Premier League? Who knows? But we'll see. Maybe when he gets more confidence. Because remember, this is his first game in Europe as a 19-year-old. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, shout out to Marquinhos. You done well. 19-year-old making a debut, goal and assist. It's funny because he showed more maturity in his play than Pepe.
Yeah,
At
100%.
19.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, from what I didn't see all of the game, I saw the highlights. From what I saw, yeah, a game Arsenal expect to win. They did. Yeah, good cross from Nketiah for the first goal. Marquinhos finish. And then Nketiah went from Steady Eddie to Eddie Murphy.
Fun.
Comedy
Eddie
in the
Murphy
box here.
Nketiah, bro.
Bro, I don't know what he was thinking. Conceded the penalty, but it didn't matter in the end. So yeah, Arsenal can be happy to be making those changes and getting a result. Fabio Vieira looked decent as well. I'm looking forward to seeing him play more. But yeah, I did say I don't know how he's going to fit in the team because, like you've mentioned, SB, like him and Odegaard, they seem like they would play a similar sort of role. So I don't know if Fabio is going to be a bench player or.
Well, just on that, from what I've little read and heard is that eventually he's going to take Xhaka's position potentially. So it'll be Fabio Vieira and Odegaard. So
Okay.
a bit lightweight for me, but
Yeah.
City do it, so we'll see.
Yeah, like for me, Arsenal did what they had to do. 1-2-1. Not a lot to add. They just kind of proved to me that they're going the right path. Team looks solid. Managers implement a system and they're going by and they believe it. So yeah, a game that could have been a tricky one after losing 3-1 to your arch rivals, but they overcame it pretty comprehensively with 7 changes as well. So yeah, man, Arsenal are doing well this season. Next game,
The best game of the week.
the best game, the game that I was waiting all week for. I went to Old Trafford with my own eyes. I saw my boys. I saw them demolish Arsenal 3-1. I was like, yeah, these men are Saturn, man. So we played at home again against Real. Is it Sociedad? Sociedad. What were they called, bro?
Suck your dad.
What were they called, yeah?
Sociedad.
Sociedad.
Sociedad, yeah.
Sociedad, whatever they're called, bro. We played against these, man, yeah. Came to Old Trafford and beat us up, bro. These men have no heart, no spirit, bro. We just heard that the Queen died, yeah. At least be passionate, bro. Nothing, bro. It was flat, bro. Atmosphere was flat. I think, yeah, they were debating before the game started if the game should be cancelled or not. But UEFA decided against it. Understandably, Spanish fans came. It's not really none of their business. They've travelled all this way to come watch the team play. Can't really cancel last minute like that. So, yeah, the game went pretty flat. Made a couple changes. Harry Bighead Maguire played, and we lost. So he's played 3 times and we lost 3 times. You know, stats don't lie. People love stats. Stats don't lie. 3-3. Certified loser. The 4 games that he ain't played, we've won all 4. Yeah, man, it's looking pretty bad for that guy, man. Looking damning. The penalty that they got was crazy. Completely, yeah, it was useless penalty. It wasn't a penalty. Hit Martinez in the leg and it bounced off and hit his arm. And the referee didn't even want to check VAR. Man checked and said it's still a penalty, which was criminal. Yeah, we didn't deserve to lose that game, but it was a flat performance. Anthony played, didn't look great. Yeah, nothing else to be said about that game. I'm 1-0 to Sociedad. We move on.
Yeah, just a quick one. Flat game. The only benefit of that game is Ronaldo got minutes. He was trying his hardest to get a goal. He was trying his hardest, but he didn't get it.
That guy was playing football and flipping quicksand.
Oh, it's sad. that video you sent SB of Ronaldo.
Yo,
Fire jammer, you know.
Oh my, it's similar to you know.
Oh my lord, it's sad to see. It's sad to see, but
it hurts me, man.
It's good that he's getting minutes because he's still not 100% match fit. But yeah, flat game. It should not have been a penalty. And yeah, Harry Maguire, like you said, El Caps, 3 games, 3 losses.
We have seen the evidence. You cannot escape anymore. You're finished.
We've seen the evidence. But I don't want to be too mean on Maguire because we're going to need him.
Need him where?
We're going to need him. Players are going to get injured.
It's a long season.
It's a long season. So, Man United fans, I know he's not the best, but we're going to need him. So chill. Chill with the abuse. Chill with the abuse because we're going to need him.
You know, as my good friend Iqbal once said, I condone violence against Maguire. You know what? Yeah.
My God.
We should have, Eric Bailly come out in his interview saying that there was an English bias when Solskjaer was in charge. And it's true. We should have kept Bailly over Maguire. Maguire is dreadful. He turns like a yacht. He's so slow. Like, I don't know why it takes so long for this guy to turn. And it's just when he plays, you just see the panic in the defense. They have no trust in them. They don't believe in them. They just seem so panicky. When Martinez came on, there was a bit more composure within the back line. And we started playing out of the back a bit more. But he's not it, man. He didn't have an awful game, but his presence causes panic within that back 4. We need to get rid of him. January can't come soon enough for me. We need to get rid of him. If we can't get rid of him, bench him, play Martinez, Lindelof, and Varane, rotate between those 3, because Maguire absolutely cannot start. We've seen the evidence. 3 games, 3 losses. So yeah, but yeah, Bailly's interview was interesting. English bias, and we were all saying, man like Luke Shaw playing week in, week out, useless. Maguire week in, week out, useless. Man like Rashidi week in, week out, useless.
I would push back against that only because I would just. Who else was there? Outside of Luke Shaw back then, who else was there? Alex
But the
Telles.
thing is, yeah, Tellers was awful, but Tellers wasn't really given. He was signed, but he wasn't started. He wasn't given an opportunity till Shaw got injured. Bailly would come and play one good game and then he'd get dropped.
Yeah, true.
And then Aaron Wan-Bissaka, remember, Dalot was always there.
He
but he
was.
did not want to play the low. He even
I
loaned
said
him
he
out
went
to
on
AC
loan. The
Milan.
low went on loan, didn't
Yeah,
it?
to AC.
Yeah.
He did everything inspired not to play the low. So
Yeah.
the English bias is clearly there, but God be merciful. Ollie got a chop, and we've got this Dutch maestro. So we see how it goes. But yeah, that's pretty much the roundup for the football this week. Again, 50% in Europe, one win, one loss. So yeah, the English club's got a bit of work to do in Europe. So yeah, that's the roundup, man. So move on to the appointment that we've all seen. Obviously, Chelsea sacked their manager over a beef that no one knows about, and they hired a manager that people are talking about. People are starting to finally give us flowers. Man, like Graham Potter, Harry Potter's dad. For those that don't know, Graham Potter was the ex-manager of Brighton. Brighton currently third or fourth in the league. He's been working miracles with them. The style of football that they play is exciting on the eye, and he's an English manager. He was the one that deserved all the hype, not Lampard, not that flipping pajama bandit, the guy that got chopped, Scotty Parker, Stevie G. Nah, man, Graham Potter. That's who we need to talk about. So yeah, he's been hired by Chelsea. I believe it's a 4-year contract. They're giving him a 4-year contract. So yeah, what are your thoughts of that?
Yeah, I like the appointment. I want him to be given time though. We've seen what he's done at Brighton. SB mentioned his talent of identifying good players, which yeah, I agree with. I think he can identify good players. We've seen the style of football, entertaining style of football. I know at one point Brighton were having trouble scoring goals, but I think that's more to personnel than style. So I think he can, if he's given a chance, um, create a Chelsea team that is exciting and can score goals and win games. Yeah, the only question is, can he instill that winning mentality? Those are the questions that we'll have to see. And the other major question is, can he manage the big personalities? Because you're managing World Cup winners, you're managing Kante, you're managing Kovacic, Thiago Silva. These are experienced pros who've played at the highest level for years, played in the Champions League, all of that
I'm
World
sure
Cup.
Thiago Silva was older than him as well.
Yeah.
Thiago Silva was old,
Yeah. So I think those are the two biggest challenges. Yeah, getting the respect and instilling that willing mentality. So yeah, we'll see how he does. I think it's a great appointment. I don't know who would have been a better one, to be honest. And yeah, one more thing. It's interesting how I've seen a lot of English pundits say, it's a risk, it's a risk. But I'm like, you should be celebrating this. This is the best chance of an English manager winning the Premiership in a long time. Because we all know it hasn't happened. This is the best chance. So I think it should be encouraged. And I don't know why people are saying it's a risk and they're saying, I don't know if he should have taken the appointment. I'm like, when else is an English manager going to have a chance to have a squad to possibly win the Prem? But yeah, we'll see.
Sorry, it's a great appointment for Chelsea. He's a talented manager. We've all seen that. If he hasn't gone to your club, your home ground and give you a bad day. Wait, what am I saying? He's gone to every big club and giving them a bad day. So
Giving them a taste, bro. Remember
Especially
United?
Yeah.
he's giving Arsenal bad days, giving everybody bad days. Maybe
I hate that guy, man.
I think he's giving Man City bad days. So he's done it everywhere, isn't it? He's proven that he can manage different types of players, different levels. You've mentioned the fact that he may have to manage big personalities. I don't think he will, only because I would guess that just get rid of them. He'll just get rid of Kante eventually, get rid of Thiago Silva. He'll get rid of all the old guys eventually in a season or two. Like, do you think Graham Potter would have ever signed Koulibaly? A 31-year-old, he's past his best. So I think that the board, the owner will back him, because what's the point? How can you not back Graham Potter if you're gonna give him the job? So that's what I would hope to happen. only for his perspective, but I'm worried about Chelsea now. I wasn't really worried before, but it's early in the season. But I saw actually online yesterday that because Chelsea sacked Tuchel only within 6 games, Potter kind of has the full season to do what he has to do, and people are putting top four expectations on him because this is the top four squad. It wasn't like he got the job in January; he still got a job in September. So, what do you guys think of the expectation for top four for Chelsea and Potter? And if he doesn't get top four, is that a bad season?
I think it is. I think it is, and it's good that he has got this break as well to really get a running start on implementing his style of football. But yeah, you should expect top four this season.
Top four for me is difficult. I don't think the defense are all that it's cracked up to be. Koulibaly isn't looking great. Thiago Silva's age has caught up to him. Kante can't stay fit. Aubameyang is old. I still think Chelsea are missing a few players, so I don't believe top four is achievable. If they get top four, I think they've done well. Aubameyang, I was saying was a good signing, but the performance put in the other day, yeah, man, looked like the Prem was caught up to him, man. Man couldn't. He looked tired. He looks old, and if he gets injured, Chelsea still don't have a striker, and that's a problem.
But they got Brozier, but
Brozier, he's okay, but he's not. He doesn't strike me as clinical.
I think Potter will play him though. Potter's that type of player, type
yeah,
of manager. All the
I think
youngsters
he
that are
might
not
be
getting
gonna-
games, he will play.
I don't really rate Brozier like that. So I still think Chelsea need a striker. I think they need another centre back because the other two are quite old. Fofana's young, but Koulibaly and Thiago Silva are old. Kante can't stay fit. I think they're gonna in January. I think they're gonna go for Caicedo. I think Chelsea are gonna sign him. Makes sense because he was signed by Potter for Brighton, and then he might want to come Chelsea with Potter as well. Manager that brought him to England, so I think that'd be a good signing for Chelsea. If they make that signing, that's a good signing. They could always go for another striker, but yeah, if they don't make any more additional signings in January, it's going to be tough for them to make top four because Liverpool eventually will get back. City, we all know are doing their thing. Arsenal are playing well. You got Spurs are looking pretty good. United have won 4 on the bounce in the league. So it could be tough for Chelsea to make that top four. So that's my thoughts, man. But with Potter, one more thing, I respect him because he went into Europe to manage. I think he went. Was it Real Sociedad?
No,
One of them Spanish team.
even
Nah,
worse
he
team than that. Even worse team.
Hoffenheim in Sweden.
Oh yeah, yeah. When he left, they capitulated, but he went there, managed abroad, proven his metals, come back to the Prem, done his thing with Brighton. He wasn't handed this job; he earned it. So it'll be interesting to see someone like that who's actually earned a job be in a position. So yeah, I don't know if they'll make top four, but if he does, I think he's done a great job. I don't think the pressure's there for him to make top four because end of the day, that 300 million wasn't spent by him. He might have a different vision for the team.
Mm.
And they signed a lot of defenders as well. That 300 million, about 200 of those have gone defenders. So you could say it wasn't a great. I don't think it was a great window for Chelsea. I think they've wasted a lot of money.
It wasn't, but I just feel the owner was going to expect top four, so they expect a return this year. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, moving on to the next topic. We're going to talk about the demise of Liverpool. Are Liverpool in the mud? Are they finally over? Has Klopp's magic run out? Is the 7 season syndrome real? Is Salah just a belly dancer?
Some
Are
will
they
say
missing money?
some will say the drugs have have stopped.
Those asthma pumps to stop pumping. Fam,
The
you know,
plug ain't coming
Liverpool,
through, yeah.
Liverpool have the most players in the league with
With
asthma.
asthma. The prescription isn't coming through no more.
Yo, the blue pumps are not working no more, man. Yeah, them asthma pumps are not pumping like they used to pump. So yeah, the topic is this the demise of Liverpool that we're seeing? Because remember, they've been at it intensely for 4 or 5 seasons, head to head with Man City. The season they won the league was like record points. Every time they finished second, they finished with like 90 odd points. They've been at it. Last season, they was in every single game till the last game. They won
Yeah,
2 trophies.
they're playing
Played
every
the
single
last game
game.
of the Prem. Played the Champions of the Champions, finals of the
FA
Champions League,
Cup.
FA Cup.
Yeah.
They've been every game, last game, at it full throttle. So is this a respite that they need? They're just tired from last season's efforts and they're going to come back, or is this the actual demise of Liverpool, as we know?
I think Liverpool are suffering a lot of injuries. That's one. They're an emotional team. Like I saw online that every single home, like they're going crazy for it. Remember they won against, who did they win against? Newcastle in the last minute. But look how they celebrated a game in August. They they celebrate like it was the World Cup final. They celebrate like it was crazy. So like every single game means something to them, especially all the home games. So like, I mean, mentally, emotionally, you're gonna be tired. Imagine all that hard that style of play, all that pressing. And if the pressing isn't right, especially the way they leave their centre backs, there's gonna be so many gaps. You're still persistent with Milner. You're still persistent with Henderson. Still persistent with all these old guys. So Klopp has a lot of blame on this, but I'll give him some slack because there are injuries. So, if these are your third and fourth choice centre mids and you're playing them, every team's gonna suffer with your backup players anyway. Trent, he's been opened up like an adult movie.
I'm a child of God, didn't it? I didn't even know what an adult movie is, isn't it? Fam.
That's what I was saying.
I thought it was gonna go wrong there.
that last game was abomination. Gomez, I thought Gomez was a good player, but he isn't up to level.
Gomez is crap, bro.
He isn't up to level. He had a bad injury, kept him out for like almost 18 months, I think. And ever since then, I can't get back to the level. Usually, anybody who plays with Van Dijk, it'll be good because Van Dijk's holding your hands. But even Van Dijk, even the injury he had, and he's approaching 30, he was already 30 years old. It's early. It's still a bit early. I still ultimately think they'll be okay. Once get all the players back, but I just don't really see the attack firing as well. Is Salah's role to be a proper winger to create? Is he meant to be inside and score a load of goals? Diaz gets goals, but I feel like he only gets goals in his type of way. Where if he isn't cutting from the left to the right and banging it, he isn't really scoring.
A man like I and Diaz, bro.
As for whereas Mane, don't want to go back to him, but Mane can score every type of goal. So when you got that in your arsenal, that's a big help. And Darwin Núñez, Darwin Núñez. I actually saw an article today that coming from a Spanish outlet that after 10 days, Liverpool regretted the signing of Darwin Núñez. After 10 days of training camp. So, we'll see how it goes.
87 million package. That's a lot.
He's in the best player. I feel like maybe he should play on the left where he has less touches, where he could just be a poacher on the left. It's being a striker in the middle. You see much of importance to the team, and he needs to be on point. So we'll see. I still think Liverpool will be fine. It's still early in the season, still September, sun is still shining. When it gets to winter months, we'll see.
Yeah. Elk actually made a great point about them reaching the final of every competition and playing towards every game last season. I think that's carried over to this season, so I think they're feeling that a little bit. But to me, Klopp is a major problem in this, in terms of his naivety and his unwillingness to adapt to the squad that he has. For me, let me start. For me, I've always said the biggest problem is the midfield. If you are challenging for a title in 2022, 2023, and you're playing with James Milner,
this football club is finished. Wahali, it is finished. Wahali, you're finished.
You're finished if you're trying to win any trophy playing with Milner centre mid. It's just not going to happen. I've mentioned in the previous show, Liverpool's midfield, they in peak Liverpool, they're the engine room. So they protect the back four and they're able to put the attacking players in good attacking positions. Their midfield has changed in terms of the personnel, but you're trying to play the same way with different people. It does not make sense. You're trying to play the style with James Milner, 36, 37, who can't really run like that, and Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott's a good technical player, but he's not the engine room. He hasn't got the legs like that. But you're still trying to play the same way. So why is Jurgen Klopp not seeing this and adapting accordingly? We have to ask these questions. Everyone's saying money. But to be honest, who they're missing right now is Jorginho Wijnaldum. That's who they're really missing. If they had him in the team, they would not have half the problems that they have now. I'm telling you. And they let him go for free. But yeah, I'm going to keep banging on. The midfield is their biggest problem. Because they haven't got the legs and they're not able to press like they could before, their back four is being exposed more. That high line is being exposed more. In my opinion, their back line it was good, but it wasn't like elite. It's just that the midfield protected them. But now the midfield is not what it was. We're seeing it for what it really is. Van Dijk's always been the rock of that defense. He's held it together. But now he's not on his top form. Now we're seeing it like the defense basically fall apart now. Like Matip is good. I'll give him his rate. I didn't think he was as good as he was. He's shown to me that he's good at Liverpool. But Joe Gomez.
Think about your life. You are a failure. You can never make it.
Joe Gomez is not a centre-back that should be playing at the top level. He's not a top four centre-back. If you're starting Joe Gomez, you can't be challenging for the title. Week in, week out. Trent Alexander-Arnold.
You will end up in McDonald's.
That defending is inexcusable now. Like I said when they faced Fulham in the first game, teams are looking at Trent now and then exposing it. They're exposing his defensive lapses. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, he's got a mental block where he just loses concentration, and I don't think that can be fixed. One final thing, Mohamed Salah. I saw a great video with Michael Owen and Robbie Fowler where they were showing that Salah's role has changed this season. He's more of a facilitator. That's why we're not seeing him score as many goals as he has previously. So he's playing more out wide and further from the goal. He's not making those runs that we usually see him make that will get him through on goal and him just putting it away. Kind of like the goal Anthony scored against Arsenal. The reason he's not doing that is because it appears that Klopp has asked Darwin Núñez to make that run. That same run that he would be making. So it's Núñez that would be making those runs and taking the goals that Salah would be scoring. So that's why we're not seeing Salah score as many goals. And in that video, they show that Salah has not scored as many goals, but his chance creation has gone way up. So he's creating more chances than he's ever had, even in his prime seasons. So that shows it's a tactical adjustment by Klopp. Can it be fixed? Yes, it can be fixed. Klopp just needs to stop being hard-headed, drop that back line about 10 yards, and they need to be solid and maybe play on a counter-attack. They have the personnel to play on a counter-attack, so that's what they should do, in my opinion, to fix it. It's going to be difficult because after this break, there's going to be games every 3 days, so it's going to be difficult to work on it in the training field and implement it. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Liverpool.
So what do you think? Is this the demise, or is this just a blip?
I think it is a demise, to be honest. Last week I said they'll be fine in terms of getting the top four. Now I don't know. They might not be. They might not finish in the top four this season. I would not be surprised if Liverpool finish outside the top four this season, especially if they don't recruit in midfield in January.
Calm. I hear you. For me, I just think, yeah, the asthma pumps has finally run out, man. Anderson's a fraud. I've been screaming that for years. He's a fraud. Been protected and he's getting exposed. Van Dijk, I think social media's kind of bullied him into trying to make tackles. And he's just acting dumb. Because remember, yeah, that goal where he had his hand behind his back and he was watching, was it Sancho?
Yeah.
The way he got grilled on social media. Like, yeah, my man's ice skating. He's trying to do Conor McGregor hands behind his back. He got bullied on social media. Now he's trying to do tackles and making costly mistakes. So I think he's just in a mad headspace right now. He's not the same defender that he was. The injury robbed him of something. The demise of Liverpool. I don't know. I think I tend to side with SB on this. I think once their injuries kind of sort themselves out, they should be all right, because the midfield is the issue right now, and they've got a hell of a lot of injuries in the midfield. So I'll reserve judgment. I think they'll be all right.